Church family, chronological Bible reading, morning devotional, April 14th. It's early, and we've been looking in the Gospels about all the things that Jesus has been doing. And just to kind of set the scene for you, Jesus has been out and about teaching. He's been out and about healing, and crowds are flocking to him. People are hearing about him. And there's this one particular man that's been sick, so sick that he literally can't even get out of bed. And he's in need of a fresh touch. Thankfully, he had some friends that knew his condition. And when they heard that Jesus was in town, what did they do? They literally picked their friend up and they carried them to where Jesus was. When they got there, the crowds were so big and things were so packed around the house where Jesus was, they couldn't get in through the front door. And so in that situation, they had a dilemma on their hands. How are we going to get our friend who can't get out of bed to Jesus? Well, they didn't let the crowd stop them. They literally picked their friend up and they took him to the rooftop of the house and they cut a hole in the roof. That's right. They cut a hole in the roof and they lowered their friend down to Jesus. And when they did that, because of their faith, we hear in Scripture that this man's sins were forgiven, and we also see that he was healed. And in that situation, there were people celebrate, but there were also people that were mad. The Pharisees didn't like what Jesus had done. And the question that I posed when I heard this story is, how do I approach Jesus? Today, I'm going to have an opportunity to spend time with the Lord. And listen, in this situation, there was a specific approach that these friends had in bringing their friend to Christ. And there were three different obstacles that I saw in this situation that could have kept them from approaching Jesus. The first one was they had a sick friend that couldn't get out of bed. And it would have been very easy, I'm sure, in that situation to say, you know what, if he can't get up and bring himself to Christ, we're just not physically able to pick him up and get him there. I think we'll just keep him there and we'll just go on about our day. But no, they didn't let the fact that he physically couldn't get to Jesus stop them from approaching Jesus and bringing him to Jesus. So his physical condition was an issue. They didn't let it stop him. The second thing that I saw was there were crowds. There were people everywhere. It says multitudes of people were flocking to Jesus. And I'm sure it would have been easy in that situation to say, you know what, not only can we physically really can't get him to Jesus, but even when we're trying to, there are crowds everywhere. And it's really hard to get him to Jesus when so many people are packed inside the house. I think we'll just hold off for now. But no, they didn't let the crowd stop them either. The third thing that I see is this. It would have been really easy when they got up to that roof to be like, there's no way we can get him to Jesus. We're staring at a roof. And it really wouldn't be acceptable for us to do anything. This is not our house. This is not our roof. But no, they didn't let the fact that it wasn't their house or wasn't their roof stop them. What did it say they did? It says they cut a hole in the roof and they literally lowered their friend down to Jesus. And when I see that, I have to ask myself the question, how am I approaching Jesus today? What excuses in my life or what reasons am I going to give for not approaching Jesus? In this situation, we see some guys that it didn't matter what was in their way, what barrier was in place, they were going to get to Jesus, and they did, and they brought their friend to him, and because of that, we see that their friend's life was changed forever. A little bit further on in the passage, we see a different scenario taking place. Jesus is out and about, and as he's moving on about his day, he notices a guy up working, and this guy was Matthew, who's a tax collector. He was not someone that the religious leaders thought that Jesus should be hanging with, that Jesus should be spending time with at all. But yet Jesus didn't do things the way that they did things. And we know that from yesterday's reading that when Jesus looked out on the crowds, he saw compassion. He had compassion on so many different people. And when he saw Matthew there, living his life, just living out his job, he didn't see someone that was unworthy of walking with Jesus. He saw someone that was in need of Christ and could do great things for Jesus if the opportunity allowed itself. And so what did Jesus do? Jesus walked by and said, "Hey, follow me." And what was Matthew's response? In Luke, when we read Scripture, it says that he got up immediately and he followed him. And the question that I had for that is how do I respond when Jesus approaches me? In Matthew's life, we see that he responded completely. It says that he got up and he left all. He didn't get up half-heartedly and carry some of the stuff with him. It says that he got up and he left all. So he responded completely when Jesus approached him. But he didn't just respond completely. He also responded immediately. It says that he rose up and followed Jesus. As far as we can tell, he didn't second guess things. He didn't think about other things going on in his life. It says that he immediately got up, he rose up, and he began to follow Jesus. And that hit home in me this morning when I was reading Scripture. And the question I had to pose again was, how do I respond when Jesus approaches me? And today, Jesus is going to approach you with some things in your life. And the question is going to be, how are you going to respond when he asks you questions, when he digs into your life, when he wants you to do certain things? Church, I'm just encouraging you today. When you approach Jesus, don't let anything get in the way of that relationship. And when Jesus approaches you, respond completely and respond immediately. And God will do some amazing things in your life. We love you, and we're praying for you today.